respected professor on the dais, my dear friends. Today I am going to present the topic cross-border terrorism with a special reference to the role of law enforcing agency. In fact, according to me, the terrorism erupts in the frustrated minds of the disgruntled human beings. For the eruption of the terrorism, there need not necessarily be a geographical area. So instead of defining what is terrorism or how it is being operated, I would like to confine my presentation to the why of the topic and also how to say a big no to terrorism. India is one of the victims of the cross-border terrorism. What exactly is the cross-border? The word itself, it is evident that some other country's land is used for the purpose of operation of the terrorist activity. As far as we are concerned, the notorious Mumbai attack is a classical example of cross-border terrorism. And how to curb terrorism is a matter that has been brooded over by our government and the civil population for decades. So there could be two types of peace. One is negative peace and the other is positive peace. When we speak of negative peace, it is absence of violence. So absence of violence does not guarantee you that violence will never happen there. It is like a cancer patient who has been treated with chemotherapy, and for the time being the disease will be subsided, and any time it may occur again. There will be every possibility of recurrence. So that is the case with the negative peace, that is absence of the violence. Whereas positive peace refers to the sustainable growth. And how do we attain sustainable growth? Theoretically beautiful, that social contract with the society and the state need to be functional. And when we speak of terrorism, usually an average citizen, what comes to his mind is names of certain outfits, like Kozhikode, Hizbul Mujahideen, or even the latest ISIS, etc. But what's the use of suppressing each and every outfit? When you suppress a particular band outfit, that will again appear in a different name, like old wine in the new bottle. With the same ideology, same principle, same methodology, same modus operandi, they will appear again. So, what are the main reasons? The radicalization of terrorism. Eradication of terrorism is possible only through sustained effort, only through the combined effort of the government and the civil population. Our concern is not to suppress each and every single conflict or act of terrorism. Our concern is to eradicate, to root out the menace of terrorism from this world, from this globe. It is not possible, or it is not feasible, or it is not that easy as we speak. You will agree with me, I am a soldier having 2 decades of experience in the Indian Army. I have had bitter experience of having been attacked by militants. So I can share with you the first-hand information of how do they operate. You know, if you look at any major conflict that has taken place in India that has led to instability, you will see the fingerprints of outsiders. So the external actors, we may call it external actors, that means the hands or the role of the other countries, mercenaries, other countries. They operated. Bombay attacked each and everything. Even the micromanagement was done from Pakistan. That is the best example of cross-border terrorism? There could be many reasons: religious, ethnic, communal. Why is it so? People are so susceptible to violence. So they do identify where you are weak and your weakness is being exploited. Lack of rule of law is one of the reasons why there is terrorism at all. Poor governance or predatory governance of the state. In a colloquial term, we can say poor governance. We cannot set any parameters for that. Then unfinished nature of the national building process is again one of the reasons why cross-border terrorism still comes. And the best example is the Middle East, where Syria, there's a problem with the great power competition. Yemen and Saudi Arabia and Iran, there is proxy war and all those things. Now let's see how can we solve this issue, or how can we make an earnest effort to resolve this issue. First is talks, dialogues and bullets are equally important. If you feel that the heavy-handedness of the military or the paramilitary or the police force in the valley or in any disturbed area is the ultimate solution, that is wrong. We equally have to go for the dialogues, talks with the other countries. And conflict resolution, dialogues, then sustainable growth and development. We have to ensure rule of law. We should not do too much of funding. If you read the newspaper every day, you will see that all the disturbed areas, be it in Kashmir, be it in Arunachal Pradesh, be it Mizoram, Nagaland, whatever it is, whenever an area or a state is identified as a disturbed area, direct transfer of funds from the central government is pumping there. It is being pumped to that area, so that is a national waste, I should say. Instead of applying some ointment on your skin, you need a deep-rooted or you need a surgery. Now I come to the role of the law enforcing agency, especially the Indian Army. As some of us at least misunderstand that the role of the army is not to curb terrorism. Only when the police and paramilitary forces fail, the army is called for. The primary duty of the armed forces, be it army, air force or navy, that is to protect India from the external aggression. Whereas now army, air force and navy are being widely utilized to curb the terrorism. They are doing the duty of the police. And when they do the duty of the police, surely they will have to be conferred with certain immunity. And there lies the importance of the Armed Forces Special Power Act, which has been a subject of great criticism from the so-called human rights activists and of course some others also. Army or the armed forces never want to have the AFSA for them because their duty is not to suppress the terrorism. But if they are to be given the duty of suppressing the terrorism or curbing the terrorism or countering the terrorism, they should be equipped. You just imagine, if somebody comes and slaps on your face, according to Mahatma Gandhi or Jesus Christ, you show the other cheek also. But if you show the other cheek, again you get a slap there. What will you show? Where will you show? So you will have to react. So there is a limit of patience. So for that, because of the time constraint, I am forced to condense my presentation in 1 minute more. Human rights violations. I never advocate that there has never been any human rights violation. That is part and parcel of these kinds of operations. But there is a check and balance mechanism in the armed forces. We have court martials. Indian Penal Code and CRPC, everything is applicable to the armed forces. The only thing is that when the Armed Forces Special Power Act is implemented, when that is in operation, they can take a person in custody in the name of suspicion, or they can stop any vehicle, go for search and all those things. You just listen. If a soldier is being beaten up in the valley of the Kashmir, instead of going to the court of law, he will have to react. So I don't say that there is no value of human rights. There is of course value of human rights, and we as Keralites especially, we always stand by the victim. But we very conveniently forget the victims. Hundreds and hundreds of soldiers have shed their blood, sacrificed their life. They are victims. But very few of them, very few of us remember them. And those are also victims having the same human rights like any other citizen of India can claim. So here, how do we find solutions to these problems? For example, minimum use of armed forces. Only wherever is required they may be deployed. Then security personnel have also their right, as I already told you. Then custodial tortures and deaths. And after that you are letting someone free. After taking into custody after torture, if they are let free, definitely their antagonism will only be aggravated. And deeper problems cannot be addressed by military. That can be addressed only through conflict resolutions. Sit around a table, sort it out, and certainly we can together put an end to terrorism. And before I conclude, I should say that the cross-border terrorism is the one where one country uses the land of other country for the operation, for the terrorist operation of that particular country. But have you ever heard Pakistan blaming India in having carried out some operations there? Of course, it is there. But in India, there has been not a single incident of conflict, major conflict, where the fingerprints of foreigners or the outsiders are not left. So, I would like to conclude my presentation by saying that the attitude and mindset of people should change. Our citizens, our children should be taught properly. Proper education should be imparted to them. And unemployment problem should be eradicated. The fertile soil of the terrorist leaders are the minds of the unemployed youth. The unemployed youth are prone to misguidance. If you offer anything, if you offer gratification, if you offer job, if you offer money, you can easily exploit the minds of the unemployed youth. So, before looking into the cross-border, we have to look into ourselves. Our mindset should change, our attitude should change, our method of education should change. And I am sure a day will come when we will be free from terrorism. At least we will be free from the intensity of terrorism. Thank you so much for having given me this opportunity of presentation. Thanks so much.
Another question. Another issue is haunting Indian legislature is with regard to narco-terrorism.
Sir.
What's your view or experience with regard to narco-terrorism?
Not only narco-terrorism, even media terrorism is also there. In the narco-terrorism, it is basically being handled by the border security force while smuggling the narcotics into our borders and selling it out here among the youth and spreading such, unhealthy activities or anti-national activities. And stringent rules are there, sir. Of course, it is not because of the poor legislation. Our legislation is foolproof, undoubtedly. But the problem lies with the effective implementation of the legislation.
Moreover, we are having some terrain constraints, the geographical reasons.
Yes, sir. So geographically, they are at an advantage. Our neighboring countries are at an advantage. That is the reason why we had to suffer a lot in the Kargil also.
Especially in that Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle, Afghanistan.
Yes, sir.
Then what about your interaction with or opinion with regard to Naxalites?
Naxalites, sir. See, the Naxalites, we cannot even classify them as terrorists. I should say, sociologically speaking, they are deviants. What all they require?
They are having a cause. That's right.
They have a cause. That's what I am saying. What is the days where the Ulfa emerged, where the Bodo emerged, when the claim of the Bodoland came? A day will come, I tell you, after 20 years in Kerala, we the Malayalis have to join hands together to get rid of the Bengalis from here. So when we lose the identity, these kinds of problems will emerge. So what they need is, they need a counseling, they need to have a sense of belonging, that they are Indians, they belong to that place. And political, alienation should not be there. Our political leaders, if they have got a will, it is possible that everything will be united.
That means you are sizing not legal effectiveness, but it's about the political decisions, the ultimate solution.
No, will of the politicians are the prerequisites. Even if there is judiciary, the legal system, everything, but when it has to gain the desired result, you should reach the grassroots level. For that, the will of the politicians are required. It is not the judge sitting in the court who is handling the man in the village. It is the leaders. So their attitude should change. Thank you, sir.